Another video review as I pull my notes out of the typewriter. So this particular VHS I picked up last week from my buddy Jonathan down in lovely Santa Ana, California, helping him hoard VHS as I am hoarding VHS. And he has never seen this movie. I had never seen this movie. He found out about it. Apparently it's one of Adam Carolla's favorite films, and he has a poster of it. And he has even had Sylvester Stallone to talk about this film on his program. Anyway, this movie is called Cobra, and I have it here on VHS. Got it locally in a thrift shop in Stanislaus County. This is one of my favorite things about VHS collecting. It is an ex-video rental copy from Videocraft, 3805 Unit A, Elk Grove Boulevard in Elk Grove, California. And like I said, this is my brain is short-circuiting. Okay, so this is a very early VHS release. You could tell because it's got a higher quality glossy Maxell flap there. And I believe this one was made for the video rental market. But enough about the origins of this tape that I thrifted for 50 cents. This movie, like I said, it came out in 1986, the year before I was born. And it's about, I don't want to say a satanic cult, but some kind of cult called like the New World Order, where all these people, it kind of reminded me, if you've ever seen the original John Carpenter's Assault on Precinct 13, there's like just this band of society that all comes together to do violent things. And this particular group, this New Order group, wants to kill the weak to make way for a world of only the strong. This movie was directed by George Cosmatos, and I have a couple of other movies of his that I really enjoy, Tombstone being one of them. Another VHS classic, Leviathan. Recommend that movie. It kind of feels like the movie, another John Carpenter made famous movie, The Thing, and then another Rambo movie with Sylvester Stallone. So this movie has terrible critic reviews. 18% Rotten Tomatoes score. 5 out of 10 on IMDb. This is what happens when you do things live. And Google users, to me, this is one of those polarizing movies because the Google users were on the higher side of things, 87%. So critics panned this movie, but just the average Joe loved it. And I am right there with them, folks. I am a 4 out of 5 on this movie. $25 million production, $160 million box office gross. So based off of my quick Googling, I did not realize that Sylvester Stallone was set to play the lead on the original Beverly Hills Cop, but then he felt the movie was too comedic and he wanted something more violent and action-packed and darker. And he started tweaking the screenplay to the point that he left the movie and they ended up going with Eddie Murphy and Beverly Hills Cop based off of a quick Wikipedia read. And they adapted, kind of loosely based on a novel by a woman named Paula Gosling. Her book was called Fair Game, and then Stallone wrote the screenplay for this movie, Cobra. So it takes place in Los Angeles, California in the 80s. It has an awesome 80s soundtrack, but it's like a violent movie, but kind of campy, and it's like laugh out loud sometimes. There is like just like when I reviewed that Good Guys Wear Black, where you see Chuck Norris going through the windshield with his foot, killing someone in the front seat of the car. There's like explosions and car chase scenes. Sylvester Stallone has this beloved 1950 Mercury coupe, all souped up with nitrous oxide and a speed shifter and insane suspension, where there's this insane car chase where it's just doing jumps and it's wild. And he is so cool because he's wearing the mirrored 80s aviators, dressed up in a very rockabilly kind of leather jacket, Levi's with boots with stirrups, ivory handled 9 Colt 45 handgun tucked into his waistband with a embossed Cobra on the grip. And then, you know, he's got this machine gun and he's just going around laying waste. He's a part of this police elite squad called the Zombies, where they're like too violent for regular police work. They're kind of like the it would be kind of like 1987, a year after this Lethal Weapon, where you see the Mel Gibson character, you know, he's just like doing whatever he wants, or maybe like Dirty Harry Callahan kind of a guy. But, you know, he's putting the bad guys to sleep. It's like the title right there in the box, Crime is a Disease, Meet the Cure. So he's hell-bent on going after, in the utmost violent way possible, this cult that wants to kill the weak and take over the world in the LA region. And the police brass are like very politically correct. They're just like, no, you can't do this. You need to go away. You're a PR nightmare. But he's like, we're going to do it my way, or we're not going to do it at all. And that's kind of the whole premise of the movie. There's a love interest. Bridget Nielsen plays the love interest, and her name is Ingrid, but she's a victim that turns into the Stallone love interest. And there's like this other character that's like his very straight-laced classic police detective guy. His partner is named Gonzalez. He's played by this guy, Rini Santoni, but the whole kitschy thing about him is he's like a chocolate candy-aholic. He's eating Skittles and crap the whole movie, and then like in a very straight-laced way, Stallone's character is always like, you gotta have some health food, man. Here, you want an apple? It's just kind of like so ridiculous, but it's like you're laughing out loud. It's like, this movie, I am high on the scale as 4 out of 5 for me, because of it's so dumb, some of the action, but it's like, it's a classic, and like I had a good time watching this movie, and there's like great one-liners, and just like, it was enjoyable. What could I say? I see why there's 87% of the users, Google users, liked it. It's just a fun movie, definitive of the time, very 80s. Everything that's going on about it is like definitive of the time. But I do recommend, if you watch this movie, I think you would enjoy Assault on Precinct 13, the John Carpenter film. And obviously this kind of, I feel like this can kind of go into the same genre of like the Lethal Weapon franchise. It's different, but it's like right in that realm of movies. So I am interested to hear what other people think about this film. There's like one really specific bad villain that they kind of follow throughout the story. You'll know what I'm talking about when you watch it. And then there's like the quintessential final battle scene, and it doesn't make sense. They're going in from like the Central Valley and like citrus groves, right when you go over the Grapevine down Highway 54 from Tehachapi. I think they filmed it there. And then they're all of a sudden in some smelting room floor in some ore factory, and molten metal's pouring down, sparks are flying everywhere, and you're just kind of like, okay, that was a weird transition. And there's like really bizarre edits where they go from one scene, all of a sudden they just switch to another without even thinking, and you're just kind of like, what just happened? That was an awkward transition. So all of those things culminate to make this a very quintessential action film from the 80s. I kind of lump it in there with that late 70s Chuck Norris movie, but it's much better. The quality of this movie was higher quality, because if he was more of already of an A-list actor at the time. So that's my review, 4 out of 5, 1986. Check it out, Cobra on VHS. And apparently you could stream it too, because when I was Googling, it was telling me, go here to watch it. But my friend will be getting this in the mail and watching it in its original 4:3 aspect ratio VHS format. See you later, folks.